I'd like to take you into my woodland garden for a few minutes here. Let's check out what's going on. There's a nice bowl of shiitake mushrooms I just harvested, but that's not what we're going to talk about. Here's a foxglove digitalis coming up. That's not what we're going to talk about. Let's go right over here. And they're kind of camouflaged in, but if you look closely, you see these little shoots. So dark, dramatically dark, a deep, deep purple, almost black. And this is black cohosh. And I've always thought, at least, that this is probably where the name derives from. The early spring shoots are just so dramatically dark like this. You can see where I live, at least, this is early April. We're still pretty early on in the season. These are perennial. This is cultivated. We ought to be cultivating more black cohosh. It's easy to propagate by rhizome. That's the part that we use as medicine. We say the root, but it's really mostly rhizome with some roots on it that we're actually using for medicine, the underground parts. And it likes shade, kind of a dappled sun, forested shade, although it will tolerate more sun if you don't let it dry out. I have it in a shady spot here, but I've also grown black cohosh in a sunnier spot, and it does fine, even though in the wild you find it more in the shade. You can see how tall it gets. This is a shoot from last year's plants, so I'm holding it touching the ground, and it's about equal to my chest or so. They can even get taller than that, 5 feet to 6 feet, depending on the size of the plant. And that's the raceme, and it is Actea racemosa that describes that tall raceme that it shoots up. One easy way to distinguish it from its close relatives, the baneberries, although there are others as well. Black cohosh is just such phenomenal medicine. Again, it's over-harvested in the wild. We want to protect wild populations, but it's easy to grow. It's beautiful. The flavor of the rhizome or root is acrid. So this is another acrid herb that calms wind. It has strong antispasmodic, spasmolytic properties. So calming wind, as it would be called or referred to in Chinese medicine. Particularly muscular aching and cramping, rheumatic conditions, fibromyalgia-like conditions can be very helpful for. It is widely known for a few other things, though. One, probably the thing it's most famous for or well known for, is for perimenopausal complaints such as hot flashes, in particular night sweats, mood swings associated with perimenopause. And it can be quite helpful for all of that. It's not understood very well what it is pharmacologically doing. If you read somewhere that it's phytoestrogenic, that is outdated information. That has not held up. That has not withstood the test of time in terms of accurate research. Some of the current hypotheses, and I do think there's more we want to learn about black cohosh and what it's doing hormonally, and we'll probably never understand it completely, right? Is that, number one, it seems to have some direct impact on neurotransmitters, seems to have some serotonergic activity, for instance, potentially dopaminergic activity as well, but serotonergic probably being the one there's more evidence for. It also contains triterpene saponins, which are steroidal-like in their structure, that appear to regulate luteinizing hormone levels in the body. And that makes sense. It's consistent with it being helpful for perimenopausal complaints, which is very much a wind disharmony when it is problematic, right? Perimenopause can go quite smoothly. And so what we as herbalists do is support that transition to be as smooth as possible. But one of the things that can happen that can make perimenopause more challenging is when you have erratic surges and drops in hormone levels, particularly luteinizing hormone. So that's interesting. Sometimes it gets asked if black cohosh is safe to take if you have estrogen sensitive cancer or are at high risk or have family history. All I can say is, yeah, we need more science. We could always use more science. I wish there was more funding for herb-related research. That said, all of the science we do have leans in the direction. It's mixed, but strongly in the direction. In other words, the best science we have and the preponderance of that science shows us that it's not only safe, it's actually probably very helpful for estrogen-sensitive cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer. The last thing I'll say about black cohosh, and I do just want to pause again, just how gorgeously beautiful that plant is. By the way, the Lenape name, I'm probably mispronouncing this, so I apologize, is Cohosh. So the word cohosh is a Eastern North American native name. But the last thing that black cohosh is used for, which I learned from David Winston and have found to be so helpful, and is talked about in some of the older herbals, such as the Eclectics, is that black cohosh is tremendously supportive for someone who's stuck in a deep, dark state of mind, a gloomy depression full of dread and bleak feelings, dark feelings. I find it helpful for a lot of people with Lyme disease, not for the Lyme at all, although it can help if there's muscular cramping and aching and discomfort, but really for mentally the dark space that can sometimes put you into. I have also found it incredibly supportive for people who are prone to nightmares. I'm not saying it's going to help everybody, and I'm not saying it's just a simple, a solution of taking black cohosh and you're done. But I have found it to be repeatedly helpful, and now think of it as one of the ways black cohosh can support us.